Okay, so I just wanted to remind you about a couple of things to do with this essay, and then I'm not going to read out all of the essays to you, but I'm just going to go over a couple of key things that I want you to think about when you're doing the activity, okay? So, task one is to complete the grid analysing why the essays are successful, and I'm going to go through that before I go and look at the essays. All of these essays are written by your own classmates in the summer term, so it is possible to learn like this, okay? The three students that wrote these are three students that engaged with every single week's worth of work, that asked me questions, that utilised me as a teacher, and that managed to really push themselves during the lockdown. And this shows you what it is possible to produce by yourself by following these lessons, all right? Purple pen is where they've added their own improvements based on my red pen marking. And girls, you might notice that is a little bit different from your original. I've tweaked a couple of things to kind of make a point, all right? And the essays all received a low band 4 grade, and they had different strengths and weaknesses. So it answered the following question: write about the way that love is presented throughout the play. 5 of the marks are allocated for accuracy in spelling, punctuation, vocabulary, and sentence structure. Okay, so there's a SPAG mark on this exam. So you can open the Google Doc, which is named Week 6, Year 11 Student Example Essays, Love, Romeo and Juliet. Okay, you're going to see it says the same tasks here, same information here. And then we have essay 1 here. Essay 2 here. And essay 3 here. Okay. One thing that I want to talk about is the way that we make points about themes. Okay, because you're taught to write essays on character first, I think you get a bit stuck in the phrase of one way that Shakespeare presents the character of Romeo is, another way that Shakespeare presents the character of Romeo is. That's fine for a straightforward essay on a character, but Shakespeare doesn't present the theme of love. Okay, that doesn't really make sense to say it like that. Shakespeare explores the theme of love or shows us different messages about love. You have to make your point precise as to what you're trying to say Shakespeare was showing us about love in that bit, okay? So let's have a look at how these students have done that in particular, okay? So in the beginning of the play, love is mentioned in the prologue. This shows the theme of love because the stars have decided that Romeo and Juliet would be lovers. That would be better phrased as this is linked to the theme of love, or this explores the theme of love. And the stars, it would probably be better to have used the word fate. Okay, the second point there. So this student puts positions their paragraphs. They're talking about what's happening in the scene they're going to quote from first, and that's quite a good thing to do. So in the middle of the play, with tracking connective, Lord Capulet is talking to Count Paris, who is hoping will marry Juliet. When Paris asks to marry Juliet this summer, Lord Capulet tells Paris it's too soon because she's too young, and he could wait until she's 14. So this student hasn't actually made a point about love yet. But then we've got this presents, and what the student actually wrote originally was this presents love because Lord Capulet is being protective over Juliet. This presents or explores familial love. Be precise about what type of love you're talking about. Familial love is family love, not romantic love, okay? Now you see down here that I've actually corrected this one. So love is presented. It originally said love is presented when Romeo is banished from Verona. I think it sounds better to say something like later on in the play, the strength of Romeo's love is shown. So you're not saying love is presented, you're just making a statement about love or about something to do with Shakespeare's message on love. And at the end of the play, love is presented as lasting for eternity, is a clearer phrase than immortal and something that will always be around. It is kind of phrased more clearly there, love is presented as lasting for eternity. But maybe saying something like Shakespeare implies that real love lasts for an eternity, something like that. So try and lead with Shakespeare a bit more. Okay, if we look at the next one. At the beginning of the play, Shakespeare presents love in a negative light. That one's okay, presenting something in a certain light. This one, love has been presented as risky. It does kind of make sense, but it's just a bit clunkily phrased. It'd be better to say something like, Shakespeare suggests that when people are in love, they take risks. So one of the results of love is that we take risks. And you can see this down here as well. Instead of later in Act 2, love has been presented as rushed. Romeo is shown to be hasty because of his love for Juliet. Hasty is another word for rushing. And here, Shakespeare presents love as binding. Shakespeare shows that love can be binding for eternity. Okay, so trying to just phrase it a bit more clearly. And then in the last one, this student has phrased them well for a theme essay, I think. So towards the beginning of the play, the emotion of love seems confusing. Okay, clear. Later on in the play, during Act 3, Scene 2, love is shown as being connected to sexual desire. Absolutely. I missed this one. Later on in Act 1, Scene 5, Romeo and Juliet's love is presented as pure. So not love is presented as pure, because not all love is pure. But this student's being specific. Romeo and Juliet's love is presented as pure. And then if I just scroll down here, it's presented as leading to tragedy. That one could be better phrased. So, for example, Shakespeare shows that love sometimes leads to tragedy. Okay, so that I wanted to talk to you about that because making points on themes is something that students find difficult. And that's one of the things, if we just click back here a minute, I want you to actually analyse certain aspects. So how do the students make clear points about themes? And think about all of the things that I've just said. And the other things I want you to think about, what are the key things that you must include in a literature essay? You should know that by now. You should be able to do that without even looking at them. But look through it, think about what your success criteria are. What structure do the essays follow? Are they similar? What must you ensure that you do with your quotes? How effectively do the students write about Shakespeare's intention? In what ways do you think a theme essay is different to a character essay? And then find at least 3 words you want to use in your own essays and write them here. You will see the purple pen are bits I've advised the students to improve. It might have been with my comments at the bottom, but I also in the original documents had comments down the side as well. You can see here that I've done the feedback and the action at the bottom of each one. Okay, so read through that guidance because that tells you what's good about each essay and what needed to be improved about each essay. Okay, and that will help you to think about what you have to do to be successful, and that in turn will help you to fill in this grid. When you finish that grid, you can pause the video now if you'd like to get on with that activity. But when you finish that, you're going to come down to slide 15. Okay, and you're going to complete your own essay plan on the theme of love using the model essays as support. I'm also going to attach this quote bank to this post. Okay, so this is a quote bank here. Now you can see here, helpfully, I've done a column on relevant exam topics, so character, theme, relationship. Okay, so you look through every time you see love, you know that you can use that quote for a love essay. And that might help you to plan this as well. But you can absolutely just use the quotes from one of the student essays or actually a mixture of the student essays. Pick your favourite points that are made. Okay. Last thing I want you to do today, well, there are a couple of challenge tasks. So you could plan an essay on death and you could write up either of these essays if you'd like me to mark them properly against the mark scheme. If you are one of the students that did the love essay originally, you could try and write an improvement of your essay, or you could plan on a different theme, for example, the deaf one on slide 18, or slide 17 and 18, there's information for that. Okay, lastly, what I want you to definitely do, though, is slide 16, and this is a learning evaluation. So, something I feel confident about with Romeo and Juliet is, and something I would like to focus more on is, so we have finished revising the plot of the play now, okay? Since we did Act 1 just before Christmas. Since we've been in lockdown, we've covered Act 2, Act 3, Act 4, and Act 5. If you have missed any of that, I strongly suggest that over half term you go back and cover it. You are expected to know the play at this point, okay? So that is the expectation that I'm going to be working on with my lessons after half term. So that is something I'd like to focus more on. I want you to tell me what you would like the lessons to focus on. I want you to be specific to Romeo and Juliet, but after that you can also say which other topics that you're finding trickiest, okay? Then the last thing is something that I saw a primary school teacher doing online, actually. She'd done it completely anonymously, and it just enabled her students to just say something that they wish she knew about them. Some of them wrote things that were a bit personal. Some of them wrote things about like kind of they had life stuff going on in their life and it was affecting them at school a little bit. Some of them just wrote that I really enjoy it when she shows us how to annotate. They didn't write that. They wrote that they really like it when she teaches us story time or whatever, like she was a primary school teacher. But what I meant is that I don't mind what you write there. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to tell me something. Um, and it could be something that you like that I'm doing online, that's helpful. It could be something that you don't like, that's not helpful, that you want me to do differently. It could be something completely not even about the work, just something that you wish that I knew about you that might help my understanding of you or something like that. Okay, so that's quite an open one there, but just thought I would give you that opportunity. Okay, guys, thank you to those of you that turned up to the live lesson this week. It's great to see and hear some of you. The next live lesson will be in the same slot after half term. When I upload the lesson, it will be very clear, because I'll put this part of the lesson is going to be a live lesson, and there'll be a shared document to open separately on the day. It will be really important to turn up to that because I'm not going to do a video to replace it. But I obviously will film the session, so I will upload that afterwards as well. Okay, I hope you have a fabulous week. Sorry, I thought I hadn't recorded any of that then. I hope you have a fabulous week. I hope you're looking after yourselves. I hope you have a great half term and you know where I am if you need anything. Okay, I'll speak to you soon.